All right, good morning, people. Happy Friday. Bob back once again. I'm ready to break down some Bitcoin. Hopefully, you're ready to hear about it. Let's get right down to it. Daily chart in front of us here. I figure might as well start out here because this thing is played out really exactly as we discussed that it had to, right? Not even necessarily that we discussed that it was going to, but it seems we are manifesting this out of Bitcoin here because this thing is lining up perfectly at this stage. I guess a couple different things here, just kind of looking everything over. I ended up, I think I maybe talked about it yesterday. I kind of had to go back and redo some of my charts, and I think this thing is rounding out pretty well here as far as from an RSI standpoint. As far as the price action goes, you could probably argue that this is a pretty decent rounding as well. And yeah, I mean, again, we got exactly what we needed here. We talked about this for days now, that I thought it was feasible it could come back down and wick down to this wick here. Never got even close. I mean, really the lowest wick that we've got since we got above this level has been right back to it, basically. And really, otherwise, it's been up. And then overnight, Bitcoin got exactly the bounce where it needed it. I mean, I don't know if we can say it for sure, but I mean, we're essentially manifesting this, telling Bitcoin what to do as opposed to the other way around. So, what I expect at this stage, today, tomorrow, whatever the case may be, Bitcoin pops it back up out of here. Right now, I guess you could say it's at the top of the this channel, but it's tough to deny how much better this looks than the last time we were in a similar pattern. Which let's go back over here, and this is what we had. Well, I guess this is probably a decent description of what we had previously too. We got kind of up over some resistance. Started with green days, got red, and then came back down, swooped up over, and then capitulated out. This one, same idea. It started green. This one, the thing about this one is that it did what it needed to. It broke support, went ahead and back tested for a few days instead of just doing a continuation upwards. So I think this one has staying power. Am I gonna be right? Who knows? But we are building price here. Notice the price is increasing, right? And we've got fairly increasing volume, right? Like from back here to here, the volume is fairly well increasing. So increasing price, increasing volume, bullish. Let's go. I mean, honestly, and we've talked about this. At this point, I don't have any reason to believe that Bitcoin is not going to clear this level today or tomorrow. And I think that we're going to witness one of those crazy Bitcoin candles here in the next 72 hours. All right. And I think it could end up being something similar to this guy over here. That's a 15% candle on Bitcoin there. I think there's a very strong chance that we see something very similar to that on this side of it. Now, the interesting thing is, again, we're not going to totally mirror this side because we had to break this and hold it as support in order to continue this. So now my question really, and the market will tell us here very soon, if we clear this 236 fib level and hold it, I would imagine we probably end up with something similar to this candle where we're going to explode up over, probably tap here, bring a hard pullback, probably straight to this trend line right here. So probably just below 24,000, basically to clear out. Essentially what that would do, you got a lot of people who are going to buy this bounce here and then set a stop loss just below it. And what falling back to just below it would do is it would wipe out those long positions, and it would trigger the stop loss. So that's probably what I expect. Today or tomorrow, this thing bursts up out of here. And then it essentially is going to look like these two candles here, except this candle I anticipate is going to be pretty ridiculous. I would expect that we'll probably see this will be a single day move, damn near, I would guess. So I anticipate that there's going to be some decent movement this week. Long story, really just the short version of all this. Just I think we're in for a good weekend once again, and it's just a matter of just how good it's going to be. Are we going to recover all the way up to here? Wow, if we did that, I would just absolutely I'll put it this way: I wouldn't be totally prepared if it came up here, but we can be fully prepared here to get us up to at least here. Now, I do not know if we're going to breach this level. I really don't, and to be frank, I doubt we will. I think that we do probably come up, get capped out over here capped out up here over the weekend. But if not, again, the number I would look for would be something near this 618, so 32K. So, I mean, again, what was that, about a 50, not quite 50%, but I mean, that would be a very strong pump from where we're at for sure. Yeah, that's about all I can say there. The RSI, again, I put this line in here yesterday. It didn't even come back and touch it yet, but you can see it is respecting the concept of the uptrend. I mean, we got, so today being Friday, this is Friday's RSI right here, and then Saturday would be up to here, Sunday. Yeah, I mean, this thing, it's either going to burst up out of here over the weekend or it's going to come back down into here. And it wouldn't be a terrible thing because, again, I think this thing is got a bit of a parabola going. And if basically we just kind of rolled back down into this pocket right here, this would give me everything that I was looking for, or what I specifically said here, popping up and then coming back and back testing down here. Who knows? Maybe we actually do cascade all the way up here, and then it's not until maybe, several days from now that we're actually coming back down here. That's the thing about the timing. It's just so tough to say. I mean, you could look at it and say all day, I think these things will happen, but to then sit there and say they're going to happen in this particular time frame. I mean, I can't tell you how many times I know something's going to happen, and I think I know exactly how it will, and it plays out just ever so slightly differently. So you really just got to pay attention to price levels. You can't get caught up on all the other stuff that comes along with it. But long story short, downside target, unless things reverse, just awful reversal here, unless we get just an awful reversal, we've already seen the downside for the day. And we could, don't get me wrong. I mean, this thing could end up just double topping right here, and maybe I move this out, and maybe this already maybe looks as though it could. I don't know. I'm not expecting that, but I also wouldn't be massively surprised if it happened. That happens. That's when, if that were to happen, then we could anticipate this pullback into here to snag the support of the 21. But I think we're over this at this point. Just a guess. We've already tested out support here, had no problem. Didn't have to come all the way back to retest that support, so no double tap back test. Again, I suppose it might be feasible. Rejection, retest, boom. Otherwise, we're going into this weekend coming on up here. Somewhere here. Maybe it wicks out to there. I doubt it. Again, it's feasible, though. I mean, we had to... This is probably the spot right here. I mean, 27, 28, 9, somewhere in there. 27 is the most logical number, and then 32 is... I don't know. If it happens, it happens. I would not anticipate that myself. So, let's get zoomed in on some other time frames here. Obviously, we can see how awesome that is right there. Let's get in on the 4 hour. Same thing here. I mean, you're going to see... This thing just, man, Bitcoin just doing things right now, right? Like, it's honestly, I'm after I had this trend line drawn yesterday, and I kind of really thought this one might reject out and just cascade down, but no, I mean, it just popped right back up into this kind of bullish territory. It is, in fact, in bullish territory right now. Again, Worst case scenario, 23,405 maybe as a retest at this point, maybe 23,2. Otherwise, this thing's going up. I mean, we just expected it at this stage. So that's 4 hour. Now, again, it should get rejected here. It just doesn't look like it's going to. And in fact, I could argue more likely that this thing is forming a parabola of its own. Could make that argument. A little rising channel of sorts. All right, so that's the 4 hour, hourly. Same idea. I mean, this thing, I actually drew this out long before it ever printed any of this stuff right here, and hit it pretty close. I mean, not terribly far off. And the other thing, right, where was it? Right here. When this broke, this thing just moving. So, I mean, again, here's what we got. I mean, just take a look at the chart, and you can, you don't even need to be good at looking at charts yourself to see, we got the numbers here. We found support at the 0.5 fib on this chart. So, again, and I got all these different charts, all these different, well, we've back tested this level, 22,780. And now the next target is 24. If we get rejected at 24, potentially fill in this area. We were just talking about that because I figured it was more likely we'd burst up to here, and then maybe we come back and bust out, seeking some stop losses here. But I mean, this thing, it's got potential to just roast on up to here in the next few hours, really. Maybe 6-8 hours, potentially to come up all the way to here. Is it going to happen? I don't know. I would be more inclined to believe we get another rejection here. And then kind of fill out this. But Bitcoin also needs to go on to set another new high soon. It needs to exceed this high very soon. So it's feasible. This thing will just roast right on up to this level and then come back and back test. But again, it doesn't matter if the market's up, down, sideways, whatever. There's money that can be made. But man, is it way more fun to talk about Bitcoin when it's actually doing what we like it to do, right? It's a lot more exciting when you can see that thing burst into the upside and everybody gets excited and etc. That's basically what we got going on there. This thing, I don't know, this hourly move might be getting pretty close to maxed out. So, that again, going to be looking for some support bounces here. Maybe back down this, down here. Because, like I said, I had added this before there was really even a pattern formed. I like to give myself a concept to work with. And it was a pretty good option there. So, really, I mean, let's zoom in on the short-term time frames here, see what we got. And again, not much needs to be said here. I mean, this just 23,822. That's the level that I've got pegged as the 0.0 for my reverse fib. All because this was essentially a bullish fake out over here, and it may not be perfect. I mean, I got a couple wicks above it, but I basically had that pegged as a bullish fake out, so I negated that. So 23,822 is what I'm looking for right now. If it pops up over, great, probably buy that and long it at least up to here, or maybe somewhere in this range, maybe even up to 24.8 ish, just based on that other chart. Man, this thing just, let's get that on there. There we go. So yeah, right now I've been putting in a real nice just a straight up shot there, basically. I mean, you can't even, that, if it does break down out of this at some point here soon, which I don't know if it will, because we got the golden cross on the 15 coming. This will take probably at least another hour to 2 hours to play out. As these crosses happen, should get some push and then maybe just a little bit of pullback. But even if it falls out of this thing, this pattern's only a $300 deep pattern. So let's say we get up here, 23.5 is your retest, which makes perfect sense because that retest this break of this level here, which you can see was held over here as well as support at one point. So yeah, that'd be a totally logical number. If it comes back to this trend line, great. We're gonna got to get aggressive there, because again, if we're expecting, potentially a 15% pump out of Bitcoin here in the coming days, then obviously it would make sense to take as much advantage of that as possible. 15% pump out of Bitcoin, and you leverage that up, say 10x, all of a sudden you're talking about a quick 150% increase in your position. So not too shabby. We like that. We do like that. So, yeah, as far as it goes, again, I think we've probably hit the downside target already for the day. And again, just to reiterate this, and this is a 15-minute chart, but it still spans a decent amount of time. This goes all the way back to the beginning of July, and you can see here, end of June, beginning of July. Low, higher low, equivalent low in this case, but otherwise it settled out as a higher low, higher low, higher low, higher low, higher low, higher low, higher low. We need our higher high now. All right, so that's all we're really looking for at this point. Get our higher high, pop on up here, and maybe we'll readjust this reverse fib. But then otherwise, again, we're just looking for upside targets at that point. This chart will provide us some targets to look for: 24.9, 25.7, 28, basically 27.950. This would be the one that I'll be the most interested to see, like how long it takes to get to this level, because we got a lot to work with before then, a lot to deal with there. But that 1618 would be essentially you recover the entire drop plus another 61%. So let's see. And one other target we want to look for here, and I believe we can find that on this guy. Nope, not on that one. But that's all right. We're just going to be looking for certain levels here again. So, if we let's say we just based it off of this, and I realize it's going to be a mess and it's tough to see. Then you're going to notice that a lot of these lines will overlap, just because that's how this works, right? Like everybody's out here using these Fibonacci analysis, and they're just dragging their numbers around. 1618. So yeah, we already hit a 1618 fib target based on this right here. So then if we wanted to draw up a 1618 target here, it probably does put it right into here or here. So. And that's like the golden number, right? Like the 618 is the number you want to look for, whether it's downside, upside, extension, retracement, whatever the case may be. So again, there's no guarantee, but this sure as hell looks like we're gonna be in for a ridiculous weekend. 1, 2, 3 taps on this. This is essentially the fourth. This one's breaking through. No guarantees, but I'm telling you, it's probably going to happen. And I'm looking forward to watching this thing just absolutely roll up here this weekend. So, if it goes the other direction, great. That's what stop losses are for. But otherwise, just let's prep for this thing to go ballistic here. Looking forward to catching up on Monday. Basically, I'll be looking forward to finding out how close I was to accurate, and we'll be seeing what kind of excitement this market has for us. Look forward to it. Hey, enjoy your weekend. We'll talk soon.